Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Christian here, and you are tuned in for more of my 2 cents. If you are new to the channel, then welcome. Thank you so much for joining me over here on my side of the YouTube verse. Hopefully you will enjoy the dialogue, the conversation, the topics. You click around, stick around, and yeah, subscribe to the channel. I would love that if you joined the My 2 Cents crew. Because what we're doing over here is growing, we're learning, we're sharing, and we are deconstructing. Okay? We are deconstructing, honey, every single day. I don't think the journey ever ends, especially if the indoctrination started when you could barely talk. Okay, there's a lot of work to do, and we are doing it together. All right, if you are a returning to center, then hey family, hey, thank you so much for tuning in again today. I am super excited to dive into today's video because it is a viewer email. Woo! I got to get some edits up in here with some noises, okay? I love a good viewer email. I get them ever so often. They're not like blowing up. My email is not overflowing with you guys' emails, even though I would love to get more emails from you guys with questions or topics that you would like me to cover, but that's cool. If you're just a listener and you chime in the comments or whatever, or you share these videos or listen to them loyally, I appreciate that. So thank you for that. But this video is going to be a viewer email response video. So I'm super excited to dive into it. It's one on deconstructing. And it really, really came at a great time for me last week. That kind of like just gave me some confirmation. Sometimes you can be on a journey and you can be doing things and you don't really know how effective it is or how impactful it is, because I don't do anything for influence. I do it for impact, because that's what matters most. If I cannot add anything to someone's life, I definitely will not take anything from it. I am an increaser by nature. I do not do anything that would cause there to be a deficit in my own life or anyone's around me. So I love, love, love getting these emails and hearing you guys take on things and you all desiring my 2 cents on things. So before we dive in, there are 3 points that matter most. Number one, you're not alone. Number two, you're not crazy. Number three, God, your creator, still loves you, and I do too. So let's get right into it. And if you want to send your own email to me, you can do that as well at my2centmatters with an S at gmail.com. That's my2centmatters@gmail.com. All right, let's go. So here she says, Hi, Christian. I followed your platform for a couple of years now. I was struggling with the idea of leaving the church that I was a part of, and you helped me through that. Thank you so much. I'm so, so very grateful that I was able to help you through that. I requested you address the topic for me, and you did. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so this isn't your first email request. Let's get into number two. I recently had a friend that is fighting for her life in the hospital. I'm 52 years old, and this was a close look at mortality for me. I began to internalize her situation as if it could happen to me, and it messed with my mind. I started to experience stress and anxiety in a way that I never have before. I couldn't get any control over it. All I knew to do was pray. I felt condemned because how could I pray and call on Jesus when I'm living in sin, was my thought. I live with a man that has deconstructed years ago. This man is the best man that I've ever had. And because his belief system doesn't match what I've been programmed to believe, I almost threw him away. I had to call my mother when I was struggling to pray with me because her prayers comfort me. I shared my heart with her because I felt like I was losing my mind from the stress of my friend and the guilt that I'm in this relationship. I thought God was telling me that I had to let him go. Of course, that was on point for my mom. She shared that someone from my former church told her that he's not good for me. They said that it's not that he's a bad person, but he's a hindrance. For a moment, I bought into it. I've since determined that I allowed my mind to build up thoughts of fear. I listened to you respond to the deconstruction rapture request, and you mentioned Louise Hay. Thank you. I'm doing the work, and last night was my first full night of rest since this whole ordeal. I guess I'd like for you to address a few points for me. How can I still have a relationship with God and I'm living with my partner who makes my life full without guilt and condemnation and fear? Number two, how do you really separate from the old belief system? Number three, how did you put the work in to deconstruct? What material did you use to help? If you have time to address this on your platform, that would be helpful. Thank you, Christian, for your dedication and your hard work. You've been a blessing. Thank you so very much for this email. Thank you for sharing your experiences, and thank you for trusting me to address these questions and these concerns for you and weigh in, because I am going to weigh in. And I'm not one that gives disclaimers before I give, my feedback or my 2 cents, because nothing that I say or that I do will ever come from a place of maliciousness or, um, you know, poor intent, just bad intentions. And so I believe you trust that and you know that. And so from there, I'm just going to go ahead. First, before I answer your questions, I'm just going to kind of respond to the email in itself of your situation and what my 2 cents is on what you have experienced here recently, because I've had an experience like this myself. And I don't know what situation your friend is in, if she made it through the fight for her life in the hospital, if she transitioned and passed away. I'm not sure of that. But I recently had an experience with grief with my godmother, and it changed my whole life. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't wish that her life could have been more fulfilled had she separated herself from a belief system that I believe took all of the joy and the peace and the authenticity of who she was as an individual. And I personally watched my mother, who was friends with this woman for over 30 years, because I'm 36. They met when my mother was still pregnant with me. So my mother had known this woman as long as I've been alive. I'm 36. And in the last stages or weeks of my godmother's life, I feel like Christianity failed her, but her belief in Christianity failed her, and her belief in the people that she worshiped with failed her. That was number one that hurt me for her. Number two was, I also believe what you felt with your fear of seeing your friend that way. My mother also felt that as well. And this email confirmed that for me, that the detachment that my mother kind of experienced during my godmother's, passing, was her way of dealing with her own mortality. Like, dang, this is sad. This could be me. We are believers. We've been praying and we've been fasting. God, why are you not moving? Why are you not healing? Why are you not delivering her? Why is she like this? Why is this happening to her? I believe that there was a real internal battle of fear, of unbelief, and then rejection at the same time of the person that was going through it. Like, how could she lose her faith? How could this be happening to her? Right? How could she accept that this was her diagnosis? And that's a really weird, strange, and in my opinion, unacceptable place to be in. But it's a place that you stand in when you have accepted partial truths about God and not the full picture about who you are in God or who God is in you. Seeing those things happen to people doesn't mean that you have to stand in a place of fear of it happening to you. It means that you have to stand in a place of believing that that person has enough power to get themselves out of that situation. The belief, to me, in God should be one of, we have the same power in us that our Creator has. So you wouldn't bring me here and not give me the ability to do the same things that you did to get me here. I too can do what you did. I've given the example several times. You're not going to find a cat that can't meow. You're not going to find a dog that can't bark. You're not going to find a hen or a chicken or a rooster, whichever one lays the egg, that can't do that. That is their nature because of where they came from. The thing that birthed them had the ability, they do too. That's a creative benefit. What created you, you also have the same ability and function that they did. So whether you believe in God or not, whatever created us, we all have the same ability. Unless there's something that keeps us from having that medically, something happens where, say, a woman can't give birth or there are complications, but by and large, women can reproduce. And there are those instances where there are situations where a woman might not be, but that is the normal function of a woman. That's an ability of a woman. All right. So when it comes to this and it comes to you, seeing this and internalizing the situation and being overwhelmed by it, I understand how it happened. But it's not that you're separated from God, or that's something that's vexing you because you're doing wrong or living in sin that fear overwhelmed you. It's because you still haven't shed the beliefs of Christianity or of the religion you used to practice. This will be the stage of confusion and guilt that a lot of people feel during deconstruction. You want to run back to it. I don't know if you listened to the video that I will have uploaded by Sunday. I'm recording your video on Sunday, but I just posted a video today on my deconstruction journey, which is going to also answer some of your questions as well. But you literally you haven't gotten as far in your deconstruction journey where you would be like, oh, I'm good. No matter who I'm with, no matter what's going on and what I choose to do in my adult life, those old beliefs no longer guide my actions. I no longer live based in fear of what I choose to do as an adult. The thing about religion, the thing about what we were all given and forced, what was forced upon us with these beliefs, is that it literally starts to shape and craft how we think about everything. We question nothing, we accept it all, and we do it. We question nothing. We do what we're told, right? Those are the two key points of religion. Don't you ask no questions. Believe whatever you're told. Okay? Do it. Do it. This saves people who are in it from having to actually know what they're in and why they're doing what they're doing. It's dangerous. So you being kind of between the two of feeling fear and allowing it to overwhelm you is because you want to lean back on what you know and what you feel like you can trust, which is prayer, which is God, calling on the name of Jesus for healing, for deliverance, for, your mind to be relieved and for peace. But I have to tell you that you can do that. You can definitely still pray. Prayer is not, to me, prayer is not attached to any one religion. Prayer is just you being able to express yourself and feel better about what it is that you're letting go. If you have the thought and the mindset that as you pray, someone or something is hearing you, that's fine if that works for you. That's fine if that works for you. I talk out loud all the time. And it's never, God help me, God take this from me. I don't put anything on God because I know that I have the power to do it. So when I pray, if you will, if you want to call it that, and I'm just talking and I'm saying, I know that things are working out for me. I already remember what I've experienced before. I recall what changed for me, what moved around for me. I know I don't have to go through this. I know I'm not going through this alone. I know that this is not happening to me. This is happening for me. And I am grateful for the unfolding of all of this in this journey and during this process. I'm not going to be overwhelmed. I'm not going to be stressed. I don't pray as if I'm begging for something to do something for me. I pray or I talk to myself. I encourage myself. Prayer is for me at this point. Because again, all of what you do as an existing being here in this human experience is you are constantly being reminded of who's in control, who has the power. Either you're giving it away to a celestial being, right? Either you're giving it away to God and not taking accountability for what actually happens or doesn't, or you're harnessing that power and you're saying, I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I can do. And I know what I believe. I see this changing for me. I see this working for me. I feel this going good on my behalf. I see my friend. I see what she's dealing with. Let me be a light. Let me be her strength. Allow this to not affect me. I am well. I am healed. I am okay. Right? Whatever you accept and whatever you align with, that is what your experience will be. And I'm not saying immediately or instantly, but in this moment, I am grateful that you yourself was able to say, hey, I'm going to tap into something else. I know that this feeling is not right. I don't like it and I don't want it to continue. So you reached out to someone you believed could help you to do that. And that was your mom. That's a comfort zone. That's fine. You did not do anything wrong. I'll never go against anyone's choice to alleviate stress or anxiety from themselves, because everybody is not at the point to know that what they need is internally and how to tap into that yet. So that's okay. That's totally fine that you did that. That's not a problem. You're not wrong, because that is you linking up with someone who has the same belief, which someone in church would say, like precious faith. You're linking up with someone who has a common belief as you to encourage you and to join your power with their power in order to see a change and a shift. And that works. That's all fine and dandy. I mean, I have a husband, we set goals, right? We plan, we talk about things. And when we're both on the same vibration, the same level, the same on the same flow, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, we always see it happen the way that we planned it, the way that we wrote it out, because that's mass consciousness. When you're able to bring more than one conscious mind together for the greater good or the bad of something, you're going to get that. That's why I've talked about the power of fasting in church and how pastors always want there to be a group fast or a corporate fast where everybody's doing it at the same time, or they're picking times, to do it even when they're not together. There's power in that, because all of their consciousness together is literally being focused on one thing at one time. That is that they definitely are manifesting at church, even though they don't like to call it that. That's exactly what they're doing. When you're praying for there to be more members, for there to be a successful conference, for you all to be able to raise the money you want, you're literally using mass consciousness in order to achieve it. You're bringing everybody's mind in on one thing in order to get that outcome that you desire. You can do it solely by yourself as long as you believe in your power and your ability, or you can do it together with other people who believe as well, just like you. Trust me, I know. It is very possible. So it just depends on what you believe for yourself, or what you need to link up with other people who believe like you to get that outcome too. And so that's just what you did. You just leaned on what you knew, and you know, you were okay with calling your mom. And it worked for what it worked for at that time, to have someone else, comforting you. That's your mom. I know that she loves you and she wants what's best for you. And so her sharing that with you at that time, that was a window, that was an opportunity for her to share what that other person had said. The unfortunate part about that is you have to know that what other people think about you has nothing to do with what you think about yourself. And the only time that you felt conviction about your choice is when you started feeling fear connected with someone else's situation. So someone else's situation led to you feeling fear, which made you question something in your life that wasn't even a problem. That's not even a problem. That's why people say it. What other people think about you has nothing to do with you. It's about what you think about yourself, because as you look at this whole situation, everything that fired off was not because of anything related or connected to you. It was an external experience. It was an external realization of someone else's truth that affected you. That's when you have to go back inside and say, this is not my reality. I do not align with this. I do not focus on this. I do not subject myself to this truth or to this experience. This is happening around me, but it's not happening to me. And that's the power of your mind, that when you give that power away to other people, they play on your top. like your mama did. That opening, that weakness was identified. She's calling because God is working on her. She's calling because she's breaking down. And now I can be her savior. She's leaning on me. That is a transfer of power. Was she planning on this happening to you? No. But was she ready when it did? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've experienced this myself. When you think that you're opening up to someone that's going to just be there to support you and listen to you, they use this as a segue to literally say, you know, you need to be in church. You know, you need to be covered. Now, this has happened before. It ain't happened recently. Because I don't ask, share, request, or nothing from nobody. Nobody don't touch and agree with me on a thing. Do you understand me? Don't you link your faith with nothing over here. Keep your Dollar Tree ministry to yourself. That's how I move. I don't ask of nothing from no one because I don't know what they want, what they're praying for, what they want to know, and how they want it to go for me in the end. So I literally keep everything to myself. Good news, challenges, because I don't call anything bad news. I don't get bad news. I may have some challenges that I have to overcome, but I don't get bad news. I just have things that I need to overcome, figure out, and tap within so I don't go without. Um, but yeah, that was an opening for her to feel like, bingo, we got action. Let me go ahead and lean in on this and let her know with somebody else. I say even somebody else said that this was a hindrance for you. And the thing about people in churches, they believe when they have other sources that support what they believe and what they want to say to you, it's gonna weigh even heavier on you. Ooh wee. Yeah, even such a sister such and such said, even brother such and such said you was on his mind and he or she said such and such ain't good for you. Why are they thinking about you? Why are you coming to their mind? What about you should be a concern for them? Worry about yourself. You are 52. You are a whole 52-year-old woman. And people at church are talking about whether or not something or someone is good enough for you or a hindrance to you. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. And I just want you to be able to collectively see that you didn't do anything wrong, but that was an opening that was being waited for to discourage you and to shift you back over to that other side from that fear. The thing about love is that, like even scripture says, perfect love casts out fear. I believe that. I believe wholeheartedly, love and fear cannot exist in the same place, in the same house, in the same heart, in the same relationship, in the same situation. If you love something and you're also afraid of something happening to what you love or what you think you're focused on or giving good energy to, you're canceling it out. Love and fear are opposite emotions, and we all operate based off of the foundation of one of the two. If it's love, you already know how that's going to flow and how that's going to go, how that's even going to grow. And if it's fear, you're very aware of when it's present, what it does to you, how you respond to it, your body, your mind, your emotions. Nothing is free flowing, nothing feels good, everything is a question, there's doubt. Fear is not something that we can create from, but it is something that definitely can duplicate itself in order to become bigger and larger. You can't create good out of fear. You can only attract more of those things that make that fear accurate and validated. And in love, you create so much. We can see that. From love, you create families. Children are created out of love. Marriage, unions, covenants are created out of love. Opportunities, jobs, love for what you do creates more opportunity to do what you love. If you understand the power of giving and you love to give and sow into other people, not just with money, but your time and your resources, information, you get more opportunity to do that. People who you love you back. When you pour into people, be it your friends, your family, your children, when it's genuine and it's authentic and it's nothing forced or contrived, people love that energy. Think about Tabitha Brown and how people love her and her light. She's not doing anything personally for them, but the way that her light shines and the love that exudes from her draws more people to love her. That's why I don't understand why people think that the love of God or the love of Jesus is supposed to flow so freely when they're so nasty as a representation of God. You're so nasty as a church member, but you want me to be drawn unto God based off of what loving aspect, what loving engagement or experience? The only time you might feel a little love is during praise and worship. But after that, nobody around you exudes love. So you would dare not draw nigh unto those people as a way to get closer to God because they're not even loving. So in knowing that and in feeling that, you were not wrong. You were not wrong. All right. And we'll get to your questions now. I'm glad that you were able to listen to Louise Hay. I definitely enjoy her teachings and just listening to her, from time to time. I'm one of those kind of people that, depending on where I was in my deconstruction journey from the beginning to now, there are some things I don't have to listen to again, or there's some things that I don't listen to as often because they were literally like seasonal messages for me. And as with church, I don't believe anyone should sit somewhere for 30, 40, 20 plus years hearing the same thing over and over again. You should be eating from a different table. Different information, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding should be exposed to you. And when you find yourself just constantly hearing it again and regurgitating the same thing, you're stagnant and there is no growth or evolution happening in your life. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. There's no way that you're going to read the same thing from the Bible and get a different revelation about it. What you got the first time is what you're going to continue to get every time. And anything different from that is literally just being made up so that you don't notice that nothing's shifting or changing, which is also a problem. So for me, I don't just dwell on the same content or the same messenger because I understand that there was power in it at that time that I needed to grow and I needed to carry me through whatever season was at that time. And I'm okay with moving on forward and from it and going back, here and there if I need to, if I recall something and I just want to be refreshed on it, that's cool. But along this journey, every single time I've been ready for a new turn, or I've taken a different step up on my deconstruction journey, I've always been presented with new information, with a new message from a new messenger or from the same messenger, but something that was a little more in depth, something that I could apply immediately, and my mind would not be challenged by it, but my heart would be receptive to it. So just keep that in mind, and you will definitely continue to grow. In the last video that I posted, I shared quite a few resources of people or things that I listened to and how they helped me along the way on this deconstruction journey. So hopefully you'll check that video out and tap into some of those too. So let's get to your questions, and then we'll go ahead and let you go. But I am truly enjoying this, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't, judge anybody too harshly, because I do realize that we're all humans and we're all on our own journey. And everybody's not going to get there at the same time. Some people are actually going to never get there. Some people are literally going to go back to church and to comfort. And I'm okay with that too, as long as you know why that works for you. I don't condemn people who stay in church because I understand they need it. There are just some character traits in people who need those kind of environments. They're not strong enough. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm being very honest. I am a firm believer that people who are in church are weak-minded. And that's just my take on it. That's my take on it, because it takes a powerful mind to literally question what you were told and you've never found out for yourself. It takes a weak mind to just accept what someone else tells you consistently, no matter who it is, based off of a book that you yourself should be questioning. Or you can read and just say, some of this isn't adding up, but I'm gonna roll with it. Because what else am I gonna do? I can't truly take people seriously who lean in on it. And also allow people to yell at them, scream at them, spit in their faces, demand their money, their time, their resources, and condemn them if they don't show up, talk to them like children on a regular basis, disrespect them, isolate them, live better than them in their faces, and say, God bless them, but God didn't bless me and I'm the one blessing you. None of it makes sense. So to stay in it long term definitely gives me red flags for the people in the seats. So let's get into your questions. How can I still have a relationship with God and I'm living with my partner who makes my life full without guilt and condemnation and fear? Um, you can do it the way that you've been doing it by keeping other people's opinion out of your decisions and by truly resting in knowing that what is working for you is not anybody else's concern. I am not one to say whether or not living with someone that you're not married to is right or wrong. Because again, that is a social construct that is only based on someone's belief. If you believe that living with someone that you're not married to is a sin, then that's what you believe. But if you don't believe that, then it doesn't affect you. So the only way you can feel guilt about that and something that God would be angry at you about is if you believe that that goes against your belief system. It's really that simple. It's nothing that I can put into place for you to be okay with what you feel unless you believe it's okay. I used to, when I was in high school, I used to curse. And of course, I hid it from my mom. And then when I got older, when I was in college, I cursed. Then cussed. I ain't gonna say curse. I cussed. Then when I got really, really serious about church after my husband and I got married, I stopped cussing because I believed it was wrong. It was a sin, right? And then after we left church, I decided I wanted to cuss again because they're words. They're words. They're words of expression that I use when I'm laughing, when I'm joking, when I'm playing, or when I'm pissed. Very simple, okay? I can say lemony snickets or I can say something else. All right, I can say, gosh darn it, or I can say something else. I can say, I don't give a care what you're talking about, Susie. Or I can say something else, okay? I can say, keep playing with me and you're going to find out. Or I can say, you going and find out. Either way, it's about what you believe. You have to and I'm using myself as an example because I'm okay with doing that. I can't, condemn somebody else. I can only talk about myself. I can't separate the fact that my beliefs bother somebody else. I can only separate or, accept that what I feel is what is best for me is what I do. I can't be mad at you. I can't try to over explain it to you or break it down to you or make you okay with what I choose to do. I can only do what I'm comfortable with doing. And if you're not comfortable, that's fine. I don't cuss around everybody. I don't cuss on the phone with my mom when I talk to her. I'm not doing anything that would be disrespectful to her. She knows that I use that language. She knows. She tried to talk me out of it a couple of years ago, and I made it very clear to her I am not a kid. I'm your daughter, but I'm not a kid. You don't want to use the language, but I do. I'm okay with that. And then she tried to hit me with the, but you're a representation of me. What if somebody hears you talking like that? I don't care. I have a husband and 2 children. If somebody hears me or sees me doing something and they revert back to you being my mother, they're childish. Because I have not lived under your roof since I was 21. And at the time, I was a tender age, I believe, of 33. Leave me alone. Respectfully, leave me alone. If I'm not being disrespectful and cussing you out, please don't worry about what words I use during my own personal time away from you. So if your relationship is not affecting someone else's life, if you're not being hurt or harmed, or this relationship is not causing dissension amongst you and those you love, and even if it was, it would have to be a question of why is it bothering them so much that you are in this relationship, married or not? If it does not hurt you or bring you sadness or harm, you have to start considering the fact that you only may feel guilt about it because you're still holding on to beliefs that make you feel like it's wrong. But at any time, you can shift your belief. A belief is just a thought that you continue to think. You can change your thoughts about it. It will take time, maybe, but given the fact that you've been with him for a while, it ain't got to take that long. You can just start deciding today, I am done feeling bad about my love. And I am done feeling bad about my love concerning other people who claim they love me. If you love me, accept my choices. And if you can't, then I'll see you later. It's simple because they're making choices you may not like, but they're not laid up waiting or wondering, dang, am I wrong? Because she ain't talking to me. I probably should stop going to church because I don't even get to see her as much because she don't like that. No, they're allowing their choices to keep you separate from them. Don't allow your choices to keep you separate from your happiness. Be happy. And I can tell you right now that God, in my opinion, God couldn't care less about who you choose to be with. That's not the concern here. You're the concern for yourself. Where are you going? What are you doing? How are you feeling? How do you, adjust to your life in general as a human? Our relationships are always going to be different, whether they're friendships, partnerships, in business, or in your career. God is not out here with the clipboard and an ink pen taking note of who you linked up with. That's just me. And I say that because we see people in abusive relationships and there's no kind of intervention for that from God, whether they're a believer or not. God is not intervening and stopping people from choosing folks who are mentally, emotionally, or even spiritually abusive at church. Some people are with folks they shouldn't be with at church, under leaders and all of that, but they're still there and God ain't stopping them. They don't feel no condemnation or guilt for sitting underneath these men and women of God who keep getting exposed. Girl, be with your man and mind your business. So I'm just saying, you're going to have to work through that. You're going to have to, work through some beliefs about it being wrong and sinful, because again, it's only a sin because you were taught that. Imagine if you were never given that set of beliefs, you would not feel the way that you do about this situation. That's how I look at everything in life. How would I feel about this if I wasn't born into a Christian household? Somebody else taught me this stuff was wrong. I don't feel wrong about it. I'm not hurting anybody. This isn't doing anything to anyone. So look at it from the lens of what if this wasn't already told to me to be a sin? Would it be something that I would be bothered by? If it's not, move on. Really simple. Next question, how do you really separate from the old belief system? Like I just said, do the mental adjustment of releasing those thoughts as true, releasing those thoughts as harmful and as sins. Reading Conversations with God helped me immensely because I'd already had some thoughts about a lot of things. I had a lot of questions. Oh my goodness, I had so many questions. And reading that book gave me so much confirmation and so many answers because I felt so much pressure fall off of my shoulders. Like I felt so much weight lift off of me. Like, dang, I always believed that. I always felt that. That makes sense. That makes sense. And I'll never forget reading that book. My husband had already read it before, but reading that book at the same time, we were like getting in the car on our way into our building, and we would just be having conversations like, oh, and when God said this in the book, like the book is good. Okay, the book is good, y'all. Even if I'll say it again because I said it in my last video, even if you don't believe that this conversation was truly happening between, I believe it's Neil Donald Walsh. If you don't believe that God really was saying this stuff to this man, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Maybe it was too much good stuff in there that let me know a lot of what we've been taught was just to control us and play with our tops. It just was. It was. And the thing about it is, since I majored in psychology, I understand the power of the mind, but I also understand the fragility of the mind. And so I know that there are ways for truth like that to exist here on this earth, and for people who have already kind of been brainwashed to not accept it. So you can really have the truth amongst you, but because of who you're around, You'll feel so strongly about it not being true that you'll reject real truth in order to hold on to a fallacy, because the fallacy got to you quicker. You were introduced to the non-truth faster than you were the truth. So it takes a longer time to undo all of that, to get from under it. And that's why I say some people never will. I'll never introduce conversations with God to my mother. I would never tell her to read that book. Never. She's not ready. I don't know if she ever will be. And that's okay for me. I read it. It was presented to me. It helped me. That's all that matters. We are not out here trying to save everybody. What did 3 6 Mafia say? Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save these people. Leave them alone. If they think they have salvation, let them have it. And you really be the one walking around free. The devil don't have me bound. You're bound. According to your Bible, you got to live a certain way. I don't. I get to live free and clear and not under control of no man. No. So you separate the old belief system by literally doing away with all of it, questioning all of it, and doing what serves you. I know that's going to sound weird to people because in church they say when you don't have the mind of Christ, you're pretty much just out here a reprobate and doing whatever you want to do, and you're walking around the wilderness. That's not true. The Bible would have you, well, not the Bible, but the beliefs would have you feel that way. Like you need a covering, you need guidance. No, they want you to have somebody else's voice impressed upon your subconscious when only your voice should be the one impressing upon your subconscious, because that's how you get through times when you know what you're dealing with and what you're feeling, and you're able to process it through your own lens and not through the life of someone else. Pressure. It's a lot to unpack, and you have to do this in steps, because if not, you will feel overwhelmed, like you're missing it or you're not getting it or it's not happening fast enough. Deconstruction is not a sprint. I'm still on my deconstruction journey. There are still things I see and I just be like, this is dumb. This is really crazy that A, I believed it, and 2, I believed it that long. Like it was a long time that I believed it, and I'm concerned. I don't like that. So yeah, that's how you separate from that old belief system. And lastly, number 3, how did you put the work in to deconstruct? What material did you use to help? So I shared that in the last video. I talked about the Conversations with God book, Terry Savelle Foy, who definitely kicked all of this off. I don't watch her teachings or anything else like that. I've actually never watched any teaching of Terry Savelle Foy's outside of that night on that stage at that She Women's event. I've never listened to nothing else from her. So just in full disclosure, if you watch that video, I never watched any other sermon or message or video from Terry. I know Terry has a lot of content where she is very encouraging, and she shares the same kind of, messages and things like that. But it was just that night, like I said about Louise Hay, and information and knowing when to let certain things go and come into your life to encourage you and to increase you in knowledge, and then pass along to the next, session or season or, level. I just needed to hear what she said that night to activate the spiritual awakening. I didn't hang on to it and say, oh, I'm going to consume everything from Terry because she's my new inspiration. No. I just need to see that one thing. That one thing changed everything. And it opened the door for more things to encourage me and enlighten me along my deconstruction journey. So don't feel like you have to consume everything from everyone talking about deconstruction, or everything from everyone talking about your subconscious, or the power of the mind, or releasing religion. You're going to get it in increments as you're open and you're ready for it. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And every time over these past 8 years that I've been ready to receive, I've always had what I need. Every time. That's why I don't move hastily. I don't feel like I'm being left out. I don't have anxiety about information or situations. This is unfolding the way that it should. And that relates to people, places, and things. Okay? Shout out to school. That is people, places, and things. Whatever I need is already waiting for me. I am the one that will meet it when I'm ready. I will not force it. I will not miss it. I will not be in a deficit. When I'm ready, it will be there for me. When I'm ready to learn, when I'm ready to receive, when I'm ready to accept, and when I'm ready to activate, take action, do it, apply it, benefit from it, that's when I'll find out about it. I didn't know anything that I knew about business and manufacturing until I decided to start my business. I wasn't researching it years before. It wasn't, oh yeah, I heard about that already. None of that. Because I didn't need to know it because it wasn't time for me to know. I didn't have anything that would have benefited from that knowledge. I didn't learn about Louise Hay. I didn't learn about Abraham Hicks. I didn't know a book existed called Conversations with God. I never saw The Secret documentary or movie. I never heard of any of that when I was in church because it wasn't time. My mind wasn't ready. My heart wasn't ready. I would have rejected it. That's how I know that in church, when they tell you that, there'll be so many times you'll reject the word before you say yes to it. No, I don't believe that. When truth finds you, you don't deny it. When you're ready for it, when you're ready for truth, and you'll find it, not when truth finds you, when you find truth. Life changing. Life changing. I was not ready for where I am now. I would have literally, I would have demonized this, as I've heard other people demonize things when I was in church. But my mind was always open. I just never questioned what they demonized. Like, I never questioned why certain pastors had a problem with other pastors. I didn't care because it wasn't my focus. I wasn't even that kind of Christian. I was the kind of Christian that took everything at face value except for what affected me. If it affected me, I dug deeper. But if it didn't, I didn't care what my pastor condemned. I didn't let his condemnation control my life. That's why people in church didn't like me, because I still had my own mind in church. I did what I needed to do at church and I went home. I didn't let people control me because I had seen what happened to my mother. So I already came in with a understanding that I'm here because I want to be here, not because I have to be. So when things happened that I didn't like, I left. Right? It's a difference between choosing religion and then allowing religion to control you. I chose to be a Christian as an adult. When I was a kid, I didn't have a choice. But as an adult, I chose to go to church. And then when church became a problem, meaning the people at church, I left respectfully. We're not going to stay here and play games and I pay you. Not happening. So that is my perspective on putting the work in to deconstruct. I put the work in to ask questions. I put the work in and I separated myself and I took the time I needed away from it in order to no longer feel like I needed it to be who I was. My identity is not steeped in religion. My identity is steeped in the existence of knowing what my power is and who I choose to share that power with, give that power to, or use that power to benefit. And that's a very powerful place to be. So hopefully this video has helped you. I really, really, really appreciate you sending in your email and your questions. And I look forward to doing more of this, more growth. I am definitely on a deconstruction series. I finally feel that release to do it, where I can share more without feeling like, okay, they're not ready for this. I shouldn't share this. This is just personal to me. I feel like there's a shift happening in society where so many people are leaving organized religion. They are leaving. They may not know what they're doing is called deconstruction, but they'll find content like mine that invokes different ideas and it brings a different perspective. And it doesn't come from a place of judgment. Even my content is shifting because I'm shifting. This season of life is shifting. I do, and I might talk about some of the things that happen in mainstream media with pastors and such sometimes, but by and large, I don't want to talk about them jokers all the time when they do stupid stuff. There's stuff I've had to delete out of my phone recently that I screen recorded, like, yeah, I'm gonna do a video on this, and then I'm like, I don't want to talk about these jokers. I'm at the point where it doesn't even matter. They're going to be who they are, but what about the people who are leaving them once they see who they are? They the ones that need to find me. And I don't want to be over here talking about them people. I want to be over here talking to the people who are being set free from those people. Come on, somebody. I'm just saying. Sometimes we have to really realize that our discussions about things that are not going to change just has to end. You're not going to find me being the source of contention in those arenas. I'm not at church. So for me to keep talking about those people in church acting up, I don't want to spend my energy. I'd rather inform you and connect with you on a level that gets you through this new journey of you truly being free from those clowns. All right. Shout out to Barnum and Bailey. So if you enjoyed this, comment below. Let me know if you have any email yourself that you would like to send and get my response to. Email me at my2centmatters@gmail.com, and I would love to respond to you. Click the subscribe button, like the video, and come on, be a part of what we're doing over here. We're growing somewhere, and I am excited to grow with you. All right, until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.